Let's take a look at some charts on Litecoin from this week's article on Brave New Coin. So Litecoin is a Bitcoin fork that has 4x token total, coin total, and transaction times 4 times faster than Bitcoin, which is how the math works out to 4 times the total market cap. So 84 million total coins, 2.5 minute block times. They're currently on 4% inflation. Their last halving was in August 2019, and just recently price finally broke above the halving in 2019. So to me that says there wasn't massive demand for the token or the chain to begin with leading into that halving, because if there was, you'd expect price to have some reaction to that. Not necessarily immediately, but within a couple weeks, because it went from 8% to 4% inflation, and price didn't really care, basically followed the rest of the market. Now that isn't to say that the current price action has anything to do with halving or inflation currently. There probably isn't enough on-chain demand that'll last to really have an effect. So to me, all of this is just market following market. But nevertheless, it is finally above the halving price, and it's approaching multi-year highs. So obviously everything's bullish here, a bit of a rising wedge. I'll talk about that at the end, but here's block times. Again, mostly 2.5 minutes. In general, most chains, because of the continual addition of hash rate, are slightly below their targeted block times. So historically, LTC's maintained sub 2.5 minute block times. LTC was the first to implement segwit, and for a while there, total segwit usage was almost 100%, and then it's dropped off since late last year. And this is probably one entity that's eating more and more of the total chain as far as usage, percentage-wise, which is why this is creeping down. And or it was one entity that did a bunch of segwit transactions that's no longer doing those segwit transactions. And so it's returning to the previous level, basically. So in any case, it's above 75%, which is pretty great considering it went from 0 a couple of years ago to most of the network using that efficiency. Transaction counts and average transaction values have been on a bit of a wild ride over the past few months. There was an app called Lightbringer that was released that was using LTC. I don't know anything about it, really. I don't know if they're still using LTC, but it was some sort of airdrop thing. So there was a massive spike in transactions here. All that has declined basically to the previous trajectory of uptrend since early 2020. Mean transaction sizes have followed price in that they basically have increased as a function of just LTC increasing in value. If we look at the mempool and unconfirmed transactions, you can see that spike in transactions was here, and then you saw a spike in unconfirmed transactions. But ever since then, it's just been tailing off back to the range. Sub 300 transactions are pending for the most part. And that's more a function of a lack of activity, on-chain activity for Litecoin than high efficiency or anything like that. I mean, Ethereum's got 13-second block times, yet it's consistently has 150,000 unconfirmed transactions. Here's the mean block size. Kind of illustrates the point I keep making where, yes, activity is up, on-chain activity, but if you compare it to other chains, I mean, it's virtually nothing. 0.06 megabytes here is the current average block size. Fees have stayed basically at the lows despite the increase in block size, which is good. A lot of that has to do with batching and segwit. So that's exactly what you'd expect to see if segwit was doing what segwit was supposed to be doing. So still bullish here, transactions per day bullish. All these metrics are bullish for sure. Active addresses, multi-year highs, extremely bullish. It doesn't look as fancy or pop out at you because of the massive spike in 2017, 2018. But really, aside from this, active addresses are sitting at multi-year highs. NVT's kind of been all over the place. It's declining currently. It's sort of still ranging all over the place. I mean, I don't really see it as a useful signal. I just include it in the articles really because people ask me to. So that's how it looks. I don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other for most charts that look like this. It's just too hard to figure out what it's trying to tell you. Leading, lagging. Yeah, it's not for me. MVRV, on the other hand, market cap over realized market cap, basically says how expensive is the market cap based on how much it's being used. So historically, when this indicator is above 2.5, we're in overbought territory. And when it's sub 0.5, we're in oversold territory. It's approaching 2.5. It's very close to being in overbought territory, but you can see how it can just trend or spike way above. So if it's at 2.5, it's not exactly rallies over situation, but it's a definite caution signal for bullish continuation at that point. Basically, it's just, people are going to take profit. That's just human nature. If you're up 2x, 3x, 4x, people start looking at that and saying, all right, it's time to get out here. Here's hash rate and difficulty, which has been extremely volatile since the halving again was in August 2019. Hash rate dropped way down, and this is sort of the new norm range for block reward plus fees. If price goes way up, if fees go up, you're going to see hash rate go up because it can support additional mining activity at that point that remains profitable. So if price goes up, I expect hash rate to go along with it. But overall, this doesn't look as bullish as some of the other proof of work coins where hash rate just continually making all-time highs. Here are the available ASICs for the script algorithm. They're all in profit here with the newest ASIC at a moderate profit level, even compared to Zcash or BTC, other new miners that have been released very recently. Nothing in 2020 though, and nothing slated for 2021 so far for this algorithm. If we look at Google Trends, again, multi-year highs here. So all this is pointing to activity that's coming in, new money or new people. When you see active addresses in Google Trends approach all-time highs, you expect all-time highs in price to follow very closely. So that's incredibly bullish. This is, nearing 2-year highs. This will probably keep moving up with price and with everything else going on right now in the crypto realm. Here's some technicals for you. Bitfinex long shorts at the top, RSI at the bottom, VPVR at the side here, 50, 200 EMAs, and yearly pivots. So right now we're extremely far above the 50 and the 200 EMAs, as we are most things. So that's definitely another caution signal for mean reversion sooner rather than later. Our 2 yearly pivot is around 200, 210. Psychological resistance there as well. I don't know what we are today for Litecoin, but we're probably approaching that level. But the farther this goes up, the farther it'll go down. Its tail as old as time. That's just how these things work. It wouldn't surprise me if the 50 and the 200 move up above 95 to 100 over the next week or so, and price retraces to 150 or something. That's certainly reasonable. No bull or bear divs here just yet. Long shorts, basically flat, shorts up a little bit throughout October, November, December, but nothing too crazy there. No real concerns for long squeeze, short squeeze. Nothing really sticks out to me there with open interest. Here's the daily cloud, and since October, November, it's been above the cloud, exactly what you want to see. It had a couple Kijun bounces here, and then it just shot up along with everything else. Right now it's showing a Kijun support at 115, which is rather low considering it's at above 180 right now. So any pullbacks, I'd expect a tap of 115, certainly. Then lastly, for LTC BTC, over the past few months at this point, we've been tracking this falling wedge. It just keeps breaking down. Bullish divergence there. This is the weekly chart, so this is just a massive time frame. And you can see all of the reversal patterns up here, head and shoulders here, head and shoulders here, a massive macro head and shoulders here, inverted cup and handle here. So all of this up here above 008, let's say, was just massive reversal territory. Right now, it is also showing, bullish reversal. This was bearish reversal up here. Mean reversion would be somewhere around 0085. Tapping the 50 would be around 005. So it's got tons of ground to potentially make up over the next few months. Historically, LTC moves after Bitcoin moves in general. So once Bitcoin finds a relative top situation and is able to maintain a level, then you usually see rotations into other altcoins like LTC. And that's where you see the LTC BTC pair finally catch up a little bit. So I'd be watching this 005 to 008 range, basically the range between the 50 and the 200. as potential mean reversion targets. So overall, despite relatively little on-chain volume compared to other coins, LTC looks good on the fundamentals, it looks good on technicals, and it looks good on Google Trends. I mean, all cylinders are bullish here, more so than they have been in the past 2 years for LTC.